Alrighty, hi everyone. So we are going to get started with our second panel. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Yaneli Bolanos, and I'm a pre-health ambassador, and I'll be working with my other pre-health ambassador, Derek, to lead this panel. This is our second panel, which is called Getting to Know our Faculty. And we have 3 faculty members here today that I'm going to have introduce themselves. We'll start with Dr. Hidalgo.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me back. I'm Dr. Hidalgo. I teach primarily general chemistry in the chemistry department, obviously. I do teach an upper division professional development class in conjunction with others, and I have taught some more advanced chemistry classes, but my heart is really in the Gen Chem classroom.
Great, thank you for being here. We'll now go to Dr. Pimentel. Sorry, you're on mute.
I do that all the time. Good morning, my name is Angel Pimentel, and I'm a faculty in the MCB department. I teach mainly general biology, introductory biology, and bioethics. And yeah.
Thank you for being here. And now we'll go to Dr. Cohen.
Everybody, and thank you for having me here. I'm Zoe Cohen. I am in the Department of Physiology and Medical Sciences. I teach cardiovascular physiology. I teach physiology of the immune system. I also teach in the College of Medicine and am on the admissions committee for the College of Medicine. I'm also the director of the Honors Early Assurance Program, which many of you have probably heard of. It's a collaboration between the Honors College and the College of Medicine. And if you're interested in that, I'd be happy to talk about that. As well as I am the assistant director of the Scholarly Project, which is a new thing that everyone in the College of Medicine has to do. So we can talk about that as well. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you all for being here, and participants, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or just raise your hand and we'll get to you. So our first question that I know many students have is, what advice would you give to a student asking for a letter of recommendation? And whoever would like to go first can go.
I think we're all too polite, so I'll just dive in. Usually I appreciate some sort of email with the background as to who they were, because I have a lot of students. Sometimes students are reaching out years after they were in my class. So a reminder with a picture is always nice. For example, I got a request recently from somebody who took my summer class in 2017. And so they reminded me of that, left me a little picture of who they were, which allowed me to remember who they were. And it was just really nice. It also shows effort on their part, that I feel that they're respecting my time and me, which makes me feel like I want to give more to the letter and the student as well. So just a friendly email, brief reminder of who you are, what you're doing, and what sort of things would help me write the letter is always a nice question to have asked as well.
I actually like to receive an email, and then I will set up, so we can set up a face-to-face meeting or online face-to-face meeting. So I used to give letters of recommendation only to a limited number of students, but then after participating in these events and listening to Dr. Cohen and Dr. Hidalgo, I said, okay, I need to do better. I don't think I'm doing good enough. But in that meeting, being online or face-to-face, I will try to remember really something about you. So it's important then for you, way before or time before asking for that letter, to have some sort of interaction with the professor. Because sometimes I really don't know who they are, and remember the courses that I teach, as is the case with Dr. Hidalgo and Dr. Cohen, there are 300 students in my classroom. So plan ahead, and ahead, I would say, is like maybe this is a letter that I would like to request in 3 years, on 2 years, or in 1 year. So start that interaction with and then with the professor, and then send the email when it's time to request for that letter.
Yeah, I would say everything that both Dr. Pimentel and Hidalgo have said is exactly right. I mean, the earlier I can get the first contact, the better. I also very much appreciate sort of gentle reminders as we go, because especially now with so much being online, it's very easy for emails to sort of pile up, and I'd hate to miss things, but it happens, absolutely. And so, you know, please don't worry, you're not going to upset any of us by reminding us that you have a letter. Yeah, the more information you can give us, I'll write a letter for pretty much anyone who's done well in my course, but the more I know of a student, the better the letter is going to be. So, I mean, if all I can write is that you were in my class and you got an A, I mean, that's not going to be a very strong letter going forward. But if I can write, you know, that we've interacted, that you came to office hours, that maybe you preceptored, you know, that's going to allow me to really talk much more about you. So I think, you know, as everyone said, you know, get to know your professor, and then the letter will be better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. In regards to what you were saying of getting to know the professor and getting to know the students, what are some great ways for a student to know a professor in and outside of the classroom?
I will first, go to office hours, and not necessarily to ask questions about the class. Right now, there is a student this semester which every Monday comes to office hours to talk about ethics, and not necessarily about what we are covering in the class. And we will have these fascinating conversations, and she will share personal experience, ethical issues that she endure or witness, and we will talk. And the thing is that I think 2 Mondays ago she didn't show up, and I thought maybe she's sick with COVID. Like, I already know so much about that student, and that if she decides to ask for a letter of recommendation, that will be an easy letter to write, because I not only know her as a student, she's doing great in the class, right? But also her sense of empathy, her sense of ethical responsibility for what she's going to do in the future.
I agree 100%. I think office hours are a great time to get to know faculty. You don't have to come with questions. You know, very often, you know, we're sitting in a room just hoping that someone will come by to talk to us. So it can really be about anything. So I absolutely agree 100%. I think, you know, getting involved in clubs that maybe the faculty is associated with is another great way to get to know the faculty a little bit. You know, and email is also a great thing. I mean, between Zoom and email, you can get to know quite a bit about each other. And I think sometimes one of the hardest things is to remember that your teachers are just people who have kind of cool interests, and and we'd like to share those. And so if you learn something about your teacher and you say, oh, hey, I do that too, or that sounds interesting, can you tell me more? I mean, that's just another great way to start to get to know faculty.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just attending office hours or interacting with your instructor in class, whether it's a question before or a good morning when you walk in, or even just little things like that, really go a long way for us, because we put a lot of ourselves out there, and sometimes we don't really know how the students are feeling about things. It's just quiet. And so to just the little things really go a long way. And it's true. A lot of times I am just sitting there in Zoom or in my office, just hoping a student comes by, and we don't have to discuss the class itself. I mean, that will give some sort of relevance and, you know, content to a letter in terms of your motivation and your discipline, that sort of thing. But it really helps to strengthen a letter if you know the personality of the person and can put some of that into why they would be good in whatever career direction that they're trying to go in. So I completely agree with everything that was said here.
Thank you. So our next question is, what suggestions would you give to students seeking research experience?
I mean, I think, of course, a lot depends on what, you know, you're interested in going into following undergrad. But, you know, I mean, research can mean so many different things. And I think that's something that has to be remembered. That doesn't have to be lab work. It can be clinical. It can be more hypothetical. I know a lot of students who say do honors theses. With me, I don't have a lab, so we have to think outside of the box for research, and that counts. And we're definitely seeing that now as we move forward with the scholarly project in the College of Medicine, that you know, creating you know, curriculum, thinking about how students learn, all of that is research. And so, you know, find something that you're interested in, you know, and it can be lab work for sure, you know, and start, you know, putting feelers out to faculty. The one thing I always suggest is, you know, remember that faculty get a gazillion emails every day. And that's one of the reasons I said to, you know, remind us about letters and things like that. Sometimes if you write an email to a faculty member and say, I'd like to do research in your lab, you're not going to get a response. And, you know, you need to, I always think of it as sort of finessing your way into perhaps being able to work with that faculty member. You know, do your due diligence, do some research on what they actually do, read their papers as much as you can understand, and then contact them and say, you know, I read your paper and I'm interested and I'd like to talk more about this. Instead of just saying, I want to do work in your lab, show that you're really interested. You know, if they still say, okay, well, I'd love to talk to you about it, but I don't have a place in my lab, you can say, can I sit in on a journal club or you know, a lab meeting or something, just to get a feel for what everything is. You know, again, I think this goes to what's already been said, you know, show interest, show a real desire to understand. And, you know, even if you don't maybe end up working in that lab, perhaps you've, you know, found a new mentor as well. So I think it's all good. It's all good, but you do need to put yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah, definitely be proactive and show your interests, not just, I'm looking for, just like it was just said, just sending an email saying, I'm interested in this. It doesn't give a lot of background or, you know, but if there's an email stating that I've looked your research up, I'm interested in it for these reasons, here's why I would like to work in your lab, that's going to go a lot further than just like, hey, I'm looking for some sort of lab research thing. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with everything that have been said. And sometimes, remember that sometimes, for example, I don't do research, right? But I know researchers. So yesterday a student asked me about whether I can, first, if I have a research program, I said no, but I know the student and I know that how bright, how smart she is. And I said, you know, I will pass the boys in my department. Most likely will not occur right away, but I do know that when it comes April, PIs start to see who is leaving the lab and then they need to think about how or with whom I'm gonna replace it. So that is a good time also for you to send that letter, right? Or to contact that faculty, because around April, they're thinking about, well, it comes summer. I need to train somebody, to take over this project, for example.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Our next question is in regards to getting involved within the classroom. How do you guys accept preceptors for your course, and what do you recommend students to do in order to gain a preceptorship role?
So I have a large learning team. I absolutely love my learning team. And I just am interested. I mean, I almost accept everybody. In fact, when I first started with my learning team, I pretty much accepted everybody. And now I have to be a lot more selective because I just have so much interest in it, which is outstanding. So it's usually sort of the same thing that we've been talking about in terms of letters. The more interest and why there's interest in the team is going to be what catches my attention. I really feel like my learning team has been built on a pay it forward attitude. So anytime I hear I want to be part of the team to help students out the way the team helped me, that is just a beautiful thing to read. It warms my heart. And I really feel it's because of that attitude that we've had so much success with Team Hidalgo. So, I mean, it all sort of lends itself in the same direction, that show interest, be proactive with it, state a little bit more than just like, hey, you got spots, you know. It's not gonna really get my attention as much as something that's saying, I'm very interested in being a part of your team and here's why. But I would recommend being preceptors for a lot of different classes and it's a great way to know faculty. But I would also say that for those of us that do have a big team, it's important to be just as proactive as a learning team member as it is as a student. You know, come and talk to me, say good morning, and send emails, suggestions. Here's where I'm noticing the students are getting stuck. And, you know, all of the things that we're really hoping that the preceptorship will bring us and allow us to give to our students is just sending those emails out and letting us know about it. That's definitely a great way to get to know us. So all of that, but I think that the learning teams on campus are an amazing experience for everybody. I know it's an amazing experience for me. So I definitely support learning teams in all classes for all areas and all levels of discipline. I just think it's an amazing thing that we can offer our students at this place, this university.
I don't know if I can add anything different to what Dr. Hidalgo said. She was so right on everything. In my case, my preceptors or LAs are accepted by the professor is in charge of running the LA program, which is 181 is Dr. Susan Jorstad. But during my first interaction with those students, I identify students that I really have seen them being proactive in their education, very team players with others during the activities. And I said, you know, I want you to be my LA, maybe my preceptor. I would like you to contact Dr. Jorstad. And sometimes they don't do it, and I keep insisting because, right? And the neat thing is that this is a relationship that lasts for a couple of semesters, hopefully, right? And they enjoy it as much as we enjoy them. So, and you will get to know them better. I will get to know them better. So, yeah.
Yeah, really nothing to add. I think everything's been said. I mean, the more proactive, again, I'm sort of like Dr. Hidalgo, you know, for the most part, if you're interested, I will figure out a way to use you in the class. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of preceptors, but, I'm thrilled every single time someone, wants to share how they, learn the material with future students. And so it's very hard for me to say no to someone who's truly interested in preceptoring for me. And, and I agree. I mean, I think, the team that I've had ever since I first, a student actually came up to me when I first started and said, I think you need a preceptor and I think I should be it. And that's how I started having preceptors. And, I definitely lean on them a lot. And they've all rose to the occasion, and I'm truly happy with everyone who I've had the opportunity to work with. So you know, it's a team effort, me and the preceptors together, and you know, I couldn't do it without them. So yeah, just reach out to us, tell us why, and you know, if we can make it work, we'll make it work, I think, for most of us. And I think, you know, exactly, I mean, the more you do, the more different faculty you can get involved with as preceptors, you know, the better well-rounded you're going to be.
Thank you for that. So our next question is, what advice would you give to the students attending today?
Don't be shy. Reach out to us. I really think there's a lot of students who are intimidated and all of these things. And I 100% understand all of those feelings, because I was one of those very intimidated students as well. But you know, what I've learned in life in general, so not just with this, but just general life lessons, is the more afraid I am of something, it's probably exactly what I should be doing. So if you're really intimidated to reach out to your instructors, it's probably the very best thing and the first thing that you should be doing. So it's just, you know, put yourself out there, don't be shy, be proactive, go after what you want to have. And as long as you're polite about it and you're just showing what's the interest in your heart, like, you'll be amazed at how far you will get with all of that. So just do not be afraid to put yourself out there. That's the biggest suggestion I can give. Just go do it. You will be amazed at what you will get in return if you just allow yourself to be a little bit vulnerable and do those scary things. It is so worth it.
Just remember that we are doing what we are doing because of you, right? I mean, if we don't have students, we cannot call ourselves professors. We took this job because we want to work with people like you. And we want to learn as much as possible from you. And I will invite you to try to learn also from us besides the academic part. We all have struggles in life. When we were undergraduate, right? And I can assure you that there are similar struggles that you may have, and maybe we can have tips on how to overcome those barriers that you can use.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm as anyone who's on this call who knows me this semester, I'm going through a major personal struggle right now, and my students have been amazing. I've learned more from them this semester than they've probably learned from me, and you know, and I can't even thank them enough. And so it's definitely shown me a lot of humanity, and I you know, I hope to pay it back to the students. And I think, you know, it's yeah, get to know us. Just, you know, I think everything Dr. Hidalgo said makes so much sense. You know, also never forget that we're people, and you know, and we're here for you. I think kind of a combination of what both of them said. You know, we took this job because we want to work with you. We want to help you. We want to teach you. We want to, you know, get you on that path of a lifelong learner, like we all are. And you know, it's a joint effort, and we're all in it together. So I think that's always something to remember.
I just really want to piggyback off of this. I mean, ultimately it is a joint effort, but in my opinion, the most important team is the student team. If it was not for the students, we would have no job. We would not be here. Like, you allow us to live this wonderful profession, at least for me, that just fills my heart. I just love what I do so much. And if it was not for you guys, I'd just be some crazy person talking about chemistry in a classroom by myself. So, I mean, it really is this symbiotic relationship, and what you give us will allow us to give you even more. And it's just this really nice circle if we can all just sort of put ourselves out there and allow for it to flow.
Great, thank you so much. Is there any questions from our students listening in right now? If not, feel free to type them in the chat as well, and we will answer them accordingly. We have a student named Sarah who's asking that if they have further question, can they just email you guys?
Email me anytime. It might get buried in my inbox, but I tend to be really good about emails. I try my hardest to respond to all of them. So just email us. I will speak for all of us when I say reach out. We're ready. We really are.
Great, thank you so much. Anyone else, any more questions? If not, thank you all for being here today. For the students, I hope you gained a better understanding of how to communicate with your professors, develop connections, how to ask for letter of recommendation, and much, much more. For our panelists, thank you all for being here and providing a great insight for these students. Your knowledge, wisdom, and help has been truly appreciated. For now, we will be taking a small little break until around 11:05, where we will have a student panel from different health professions coming in. So enjoy the small little break, and we will see you guys all back at around 11:05. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank